Listen. Allergies. My bad.
Find one of the limited edition platinum colored Nike One balls in boxes of Nike One Platinum and Nike One Black, and you'll find yourself with a chance to tee it up with Tiger Woods.
That's gonna cost you a shot.
Welcome back to another great UBU Network podcast. This week, Don Whitaker talks about Senator Obama's fundraising. Dr. Kyle shares his thoughts on the economy, and Janine Heidel continues her conversation with Dr. Zeidler coming up right after this. Primary season is over and the race is on for the White House. Let's see what Don Whitaker has to say on news and entertainment.
Around the globe, the people of Boeing are working together to make a difference.
That's why we're here.
Senator Obama declined $84 million from the federal public financing system that would be available to his campaign in the general election. As the first candidate to do so since Congress passed the post-Watergate campaign finance reform, making public funds available, Obama not only underscores his commitment to change, but also takes advantage of his superior ability to raise private funds and frees his campaign of the spending limits attached to public financing. The Associated Press reports that in June alone, Obama raised $52 million, more than twice as much as his Republican rival, John McCain. That brings the Democratic campaign total to over $92 million and climbing. Look for the first Obama ad of the general election, a 60-second spot called Country I Love, which focuses on his American heritage through his mother's family roots. Here's my tech tip. As our hard drives fill up with family photos and downloaded music collections, we have to be more careful than ever about backing up the data. Effective solutions range from DVD data storage to sophisticated RAID drives. Check the show notes for a list of our favorites. Until next time, I'm Don Whitaker.
I'm Barack Obama. America's a country of strong families and strong values. My life's been blessed by both. I was raised by a single mom and my grandparents. We didn't have much money, but they taught me values straight from the Kansas heartland where they grew up. Accountability and self-reliance, love of country, working hard without making excuses, treating your neighbor as you'd like to be treated. It's what guided me as I worked my way up, taking jobs and loans to make it through college. It's what led me to pass up Wall Street jobs and go to Chicago instead, helping neighborhoods devastated when steel plants closed. That's why I passed laws moving people from welfare to work, cut taxes for working families, extended health care for wounded troops who'd been neglected. I approved this message because I'll never forget those values. And if I have the honor of taking the oath of office as president, it will be with a deep and abiding faith in the country I love.
Dr. James Kyle digs deep and really makes us think about the economy, gas prices, health insurance, and the mortgage crisis. You don't want to miss this week's Prepare Your Mind.
I'm Dr. James Kyle. One message that both political parties need to get is that our economy is now just plain stupid. The rich still get richer, and the poor just get left out. While many economists may still want to debate if America is in a recession, for most of us, recession is a long-standing fact of life. Today we are witnessing a global economic implosion that threatens to only get worse. Gasoline is now approaching $5 a gallon and could be well over $6 by the end of the year. The real estate market continues to soften, and last year 1.5 million homes fell into foreclosure. Congress is now debating legislation to ease the mortgage crisis. but the clock is ticking on many homeowners whose adjustable mortgages are about to reset. Homeownership was the best way for average Americans to gain wealth, but now that dream is more elusive than ever. Over the last 5 years, the median income of the American family has increased by only $991. According to Time magazine, 75% of all income gains from 2002 to 2006 went to the top 1% of households, those making more than $382,000 a year. And again, Republicans believe that you will be better off if tax breaks for the rich become permanent. In this fiscal year, the government will probably spend $500 billion more than it takes in. But our growing deficit continues to weaken the dollar and drags down the overall economy. Today, 47 million Americans are without basic health insurance. The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is unpaid medical bills or being out of work because of illness. So our economy is just plain stupid. High unemployment, rising gas prices, record deficits, record foreclosures, millions of uninsured, and a worsening wealth maldistribution. We have survived far worse as a nation. We can prosper again, but the path to economic recovery will not only be paved by sound economic policy, but also by greater financial discipline on our part. We must use credit responsibly, save our money more faithfully, and conserve energy wherever possible. This election will determine our national economic policy. No matter who wins, our financial future will hinge on our common sense use of every dollar we spend. While the economy is stupid, we don't have to be. I'm Dr. James Kyle.
Last week on The Doctor Is In, Janine Heidel and Dr. Ron Zeidler had a great conversation about the connection between stress, sleep, and dental health, but we kept the cameras rolling after the director said cut and got a little more familiar with Dr. Zeidler. Right after this.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
Breathe out and expel all that bad Vista energy.
PC?
Oh, hey, Mac, you know, it's a bit of a stressful year with Vista, so I'm just trying to relax.
Right, good for you.
Forget that Vista still doesn't work right. Forget that it's caused so many problems. Forget that you could have switched to Mac, but instead you stuck with PC and now your yoga studio billing is completely screwed up.
Maybe I should try Pilates.
My grandparents are both dentists.
Wow, the whole family, huh?
Actually, it's an interesting story. Well, I won't get into too many details, but my grandfather, I have a copy of my grandfather's diploma from 1923 from his dental school, and they lived in Romania, but they went to school in Germany.
Okay.
And my grandfather and my grandmother were set up on a blind date. My grandmother went to medical school. She was probably one of the first women in medical school.
Wow.
And then she went back to dental school to help my grandfather practice. Well, me and my wife is a dentist also.
Oh my God.
We were set up on a blind date also.
No way.
But the story that I wanted to tell you is my grandparents were in Europe during the Holocaust, and both of them had 8 or 9 brothers and sisters, married with many children, and all those families were lost. And my grandparents and my mom and my mom's sister are the only ones that survived and made it to Palestine at that time. And listen, you know, I personally never went to the dentist till I was 16.
No way.
I grew up in a different place. I grew up till I was 10 in Israel.
Oh, okay. All right.
But then I came here. But even if you grew up here, the mentality wasn't like that. Going to the dentist regularly only became kind of a habit in the 60s and 70s.
That's true.
And when I grew up, water was not fluoridated.
Wow.
So I came here, and my mom took me to the dentist, and he looked at me, and he had a big smile on his face and said, "Son, you got 16 cavities."
Is it true that they are actually leaking mercury into your body?
Well, you can listen to many different theories about it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, especially coming from a scientific family, I've never seen any hardcore proof that it is. You gotta, if you know your chemistry, you know, you can take 2 compounds and you put them together and you form a third compound. you know, when the third compound starts breaking down, it's not breaking down into the two separate compounds again. It's breaking down as the third compound.
Okay.
So what we have in our mouth is what's called silver amalgam.
Right.
And amalgam is a combination of, yes, it does have mercury and silver, but they're locked in a structure that can't break down. But overall, it is healthier to change out old silver fillings, only because they're only meant to last 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
And what ends up happening is if you don't replace them, they break. And when they break, they take a chunk of tooth with it, and then you go from needing a small filling to needing a crown.
Been there, done that, yeah.
Probably 8 to 10 times as much.
That's exactly what happened to me.
There's definitely a huge benefit in replacing old fillings. You get the aesthetic benefit because today's fillings are tooth colored. Also, the bonded fillings they're not necessarily stronger than the silver fillings, but the strength is in the wear. Over time, they wear and they don't really break. And that's a huge benefit because we don't want you breaking teeth. It can cost you a lot
fun.
more.
Yeah, it'd be painful.
I hope you've enjoyed today's UBU podcast as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Don't forget to check the show notes for more from your favorite hosts. Until then, I'm Cynthia Brown.